What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. What up? Back with another reaction video from the YouTube channel / YouTuber called Secret Base. Shaq's 10-year beef with the Admiral, David Robinson, included the 71-point game in one huge lie. Who the hell has a problem with David Robinson, one of the classiest guys you ever meet, let alone classiest NBA players, classiest guys you'll ever meet? But knowing Shaq, this guy has had some kind of beef with damn near everybody, and the most unlikely of people that usually don't have beef with people, he has some type of petty gripe with them, such as players like Bill Walton, for one. Like, who's beefing with Bill Walton, and even Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, and now David Robinson. I didn't know that he had something against David Robinson, but I know Shaq, and Shaq is so petty and he's so emotional and gets his feelings hurt so quickly. But he's an interesting one because he's all about talking shit and dishing stuff out to other people, but many times he can't take it himself. I've noticed that about Shaq, and I love Shaq, but I gotta be honest. Anywho, let's see what this is all about. Let's get into it.
Shaq's beef with legendary Spurs center David Robinson spanned almost a decade. It included professional rivalry, a clash of egos and reputations, and one big fat lie. In 1992, the regular ecosystem of NBA centers was suddenly invaded by a very large, very loud 20-year-old, Shaquille O'Neal. He became an instant star not just because he was extremely large and extremely good at sports, but because he was already a commercial powerhouse.
Don't fake the funk on a nasty dunk.
And a very spicy quote.
No matter who the opponent is, just go out and kill him. If he's small, short, big, fat, tall, just go out and kill him.
Everyone respected the kid's talent, but also wanted to take him down a peg, and they seized that opportunity at the 1994 All-Star Game. At an event where guys typically go half speed and let each other shine, the Western Conference All-Stars, coached by George Karl, conspired to embarrass Shaq.
He's got no friends. You gotta have some friends in this game.
He got locked up by Hakeem Olajuwon, and he got absolutely torched off the dribble by Robinson. The Western Conference All-Stars held Shaq to 2 of 12 shooting in an All-Star game. The Admiral insisted that ganging up on Shaq wasn't his idea. But when pressed on the topic, he was like, do guys get a little more intense against Shaq? Of course. Shaq vowed to get all those guys back, one by one. His revenge tour hit San Antonio on March 6, 1994, Shaq's 22nd birthday. The game was on national television. And the birthday boy showed out, leading Orlando with an efficient 32 points and 11 rebounds. But Robinson completely eclipsed him, putting up 36 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 blocks, and 3 steals.
Damn.
Holy David Robinson. The Spurs got the win in front of a bananas San Antonio crowd that showered Robinson with MVP chants after a big crunch time dunk. And according to San Antonio's Willie Anderson, Shaq did not like that. He heard that crowd chanting MVP, MVP, and took it as a personal affront, so Anderson just couldn't help but make fun of him for it. Shaq's post-All-Star revenge took on a whole new vibe. Everyone was jealous of him. Jealous of his movie stardom, jealous of his rap album. Robinson was told of this and just snapped. He laughed at the idea that he would be jealous of all the things that Shaq bragged about. This is where it's important to understand who David Robinson is. Of all the big men who battled Shaq, Robinson was most clearly his foil. While Shaq was coming on the scene as a San Antonio high school standout, David Robinson was overshadowing him as the future of the local pro franchise. And if Shaq built a brash, glitzy reputation for himself, Robinson's was the exact opposite, an exceedingly devout, exceedingly charitable military man. Shaq left LSU after 3 years to enter the NBA draft. Robinson made the Spurs wait 2 years after drafting him so he could complete his service at the Naval Academy. Shaq rapped in a Reebok commercial. Robinson was in a commercial warning high school kids not to drink at prom.
Very cool.
This is from years later, but look at how San Antonio media talked about Shaq. Shaq talks trash. Robinson quotes scripture. Shaq brags about having sex with celebrities. Robinson orders a sex magazine thrown off the team bus. That easy narrative made Shaq versus the Admiral a regular topic. And soon, Robinson got sick and tired of hearing about the new kid. He lashed out on a media conference call. Shaq responded to that in typical Shaq fashion.
If I get David on the block one-on-one, this is what I do to David.
It would be a year before the Spurs and Magic played again, but there was competing to be done from afar. Entering the final day of the 93-94 season, Shaq was on pace to win the NBA scoring title in just his second year. He had 33 more points than Robinson on the season, each with one game left to play that day. Robinson knew this. His whole team knew this. So they got to work burying Shaq.
Shot 2 in a row for Dave.
They fed Robinson over and over and over again. The game was meaningless, and it became a blowout quickly, but Robinson kept playing and kept scoring. By the end of the afternoon, he'd put up 71 points.
71 for David Robinson.
One of the greatest scores.
I never knew that context behind a 71-point game. I guess, what other reason would you leave him in there in a blowout to keep racking up the points? Oh my God, this is crazy. I didn't know this.
Scoring performances in NBA history in a meaningless game. That is supremely petty, David. And it was too much for Shaq to catch. He scored 32 against the Nets that night, losing the 1994 scoring title in a wild finish. And of course, Shaq was super salty afterward. But Shaq's beef with Robinson kind of diminished for a while. The Magic and Spurs met twice in March of '95. Each team won a game, and Shaq made it sound like he was done stoking those flames. Over the next few years, the only real confrontation between them was this big old dunk in the '96 All-Star game. That was in San Antonio, too. It had to feel really good for Shaq. The two got along just fine on the 1996 Dream Team, but Shaq made a change during those Olympics that would add a new chapter to his beef with Robinson. Shaq joined the Western Conference, signing with the Lakers. But the rivalry hit a snag when back and foot injuries sidelined Robinson and tanked the Spurs for almost all of the 96-97 season. Losing Robinson and a lot of games worked out okay for the Spurs, who lucked into the first pick in the 1997 draft and got Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan from Wake Forest University.
Robinson was a fine player in the years after his injury season, but he was past his prime, and Duncan was a better player than him pretty much immediately. So when the Spurs and Lakers met for playoff series in 1999, 2001, 2002, and 2003, Shaq versus Duncan was the battle on everyone's minds. LA and San Antonio basically took turns beating each other and winning championships for most of the 2000s, but an aging, sometimes injured Robinson played a diminishing role, and he retired midway through those interlocking dynasties. This era wasn't the end of the beef, though. Not for Shaq.
I remember the playoff series against San Antonio. Shit, when I was a kid, David Robinson wasn't very nice to me.
One time that when he was a kid, David Robinson.
So I've heard that's his statue unveiling, Shaq's. I've heard Kobe say that before, but I didn't know how serious it was. You know how Shaq jokes a lot about things like this. I didn't know how serious it was, or even if it was much of anything. But that's what we was talking about.
Blew him off when he asked for an autograph.
Yes. At some point during the run of Lakers-Spurs playoff series, Shaq revealed that when he was a high school kid in San Antonio, David Robinson rudely denied him an autograph. Shaq published this story in a book released in 2001. Robinson found this all hilarious, but didn't really respond to the accusation. And so, even though Duncan had supplanted Robinson as his chief rival on the Spurs, Shaq hung on to this snub from a decade ago as his motivation. It was bullshit. Shaq now readily admits that the story he told teammates in the media, and even published in a goddamn book, was 100% fabricated.
It's not true. I made it all up. Mr. Robinson, I apologize. I was taught to play with ferocity. I need to be upset. You know, something has to be said in an article or on TV about me for me to respond.
And it all adds up. Robinson never seemed like the kind of guy to blow off a kid, but he had no way of remembering whether that interaction had happened. And Shaq's a dude who always thrived on narrative, on conflict. Outright mythology was just what he needed to stoke the fire.
You know, a lot of people ask me, did I hate him? No, I just had to create stories in my head to make me hate him. Like, I finally told a story about him not giving me an autograph. That wasn't true.
So yeah, the end of Shaq versus Robinson was questionable, but don't forget all the good times they had. The 2000s were full of fake beef between Shaquille O'Neal and David Robinson, but the beef got very real in the mid-90s, and nothing's better than the real thing.
Interesting. I learned some new stuff in this one. Wow. I cannot believe that was the story behind that damn 71-point game. Oh my gosh. And them teaming up, listen, the All-Star game back in the day, they did play defense. They really did. Like I said, there were players that hung their hat on defense that were making these type of teams. But the fact that they ganged up on Shaq in the All-Star game, oh, I love it. I didn't know that. Shaq said, I'm going on a revenge tour on everybody. All the bigs are going to feel my wrath. Interesting. Damn. Damn. Y'all let me know what you think about it. If you know more that you can add to the story, please let me know. I'm a lifelong Laker fan. I was there. You know, see, I didn't get all the stuff with the drama that was going on with him and Robinson and Shaq's Orlando years. But I know I didn't hear much when Shaq was on the Lakers. I knew they were rivals, but I just don't remember a bunch of talk. But like I said, Robinson was on the tail end of his career, and there wasn't much of a discussion anymore. So that would make sense why I didn't really hear much. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out our Magic Johnson. Not Magic Johnson. Check out our Shaq and our David Robinson playlist. Appreciate y'all for stepping in. Be blessed. Hit that like button. Share the video. And I'll catch you on the next one. We out, baby.